Hi there, welcome to Bottled
Hi.
Up Wisdom. We're tackling a few kind of some sayings that you will find somewhere on the website. They're there, but we're kind of picking up on them.
Yeah.
We cannot give full answers in short videos, so if you think, oh, they didn't mention this, they didn't mention that, bear with us because we pick up on just the things that come first into our
We're
mind.
trying to give you a sort of potted version,
Yeah.
something that to get you thinking rather than sort of plough through long videos.
Yeah. Okay, this one.
Which is a point. Could you actually feed back to us and tell us whether you prefer the really long involved videos or whether you prefer these nice short ones? That would be nice to know.
Yeah.
You know?
What did they say? They always want it short. We have to learn brevity.
We'll join them all together.
Okay, right. Here's an interesting one. Self-pity is a thief and a con man.
Ooh.
You will see it in your problem drinker as he uses it as a justification to drown his sorrows.
Mm-hmm.
You will find it in you trying to undermine that part that is working towards positive change. So why don't you say a bit as a drinker about self-pity?
Self-pity, yeah. I used to say that once I got sober, obviously, not while I was drinking, that if self-pity was an Olympic sport, I could have represented the UK. Because I was really good at it, as many drinkers are, and they think, oh, have you had my life, have you had my wife, have you had this, have you had that, you would drink too, So why would we do that? Well, we're giving you the excuses to drink.
It's a justification in an alcoholic, isn't it? That's why.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, an alcoholic would tell you the reasons. They're actually excuses, but or justifications.
Of which often the partner is top of the list.
Absolutely. My wife. I found myself actually in a pub saying, my wife doesn't understand me. And the words weren't out of my mouth when I thought, oh my God, I've become a stereotype.
Yes, so you had enough self-awareness even then.
I had enough self-awareness, but I was sort of standing beside myself going, oh dear,
Very hard to listen to, I think, as a partner, because actually for the self-pity I'm just talking about as a partner, the difficulty and complicated thing for us is there's much to pity us about. There is sorrow, it's absolutely real. So the sorrow and the grief of living with a drinker is the functional bit. But when you turn that sorrow on yourself and begin to feed on it, that's when it becomes self-pity. And I think I've learned that self-pity is one of my greatest enemies psychologically. It really is. Because it justifies a meanness in me and a spirit of kind of anger and withholding. And I notice that it's almost as if I'm saying at that point, when I think how I have the right to do this, is I'm inviting every negative part of me to sit on the bench and tell me how awful life is. And so we sit and have a pity party. I think with the drinker, maybe there is, just to be fair to the drinker, often we drink because there's forces inside that are haunting us, aren't they?
Yeah, again, this is very much a stereotype, that something from the childhood, something, and then sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. And sometimes when people get sober, they say, well, actually, my childhood wasn't that bad, and there is an exaggeration. But sometimes you just get a hold of something, you kind of worry it to death and you beat it up, Lou and I sometimes have this kind of banter that we do this self-pity with each other and go, oh, I'll see you're hurt and I'll raise you, and we go on and try and sort of outdo each other, Monty Python did a sketch one time, and it's a brilliant sketch because there's all these rich men sitting around telling each other about how bad their childhood was, and they're sitting there with the cigars and the brandy and stuff, and it's a really excellent sketch. It's really worth seeing, but we really can focus on the negatives in our life and forget the positives,
Now, again, care for yourself well. I think to tell yourself that the issues that you're hurt about are very real. I think if you think about it in a family member, when you want support about your drinker, you want them to hear how you feel. But if it goes toxic, and then they say you should leave them, you know, and start putting pressure on you to do something you're not ready to do emotionally or even physically, then that point, that pity then has become a toxicity and is no longer helpful. And we have that same thing. You know, we need to care for ourselves, but and to make decisions out of self-pity, I think is really, really.
Well, when you let these issues define you, you know, because that's actually what's happening. You're letting them define you and say, well, I do this because, you know, and what the implication is, I don't have any choice, you know. As it goes back to what I was saying earlier on, if you had my life, if you had my wife, then, you know, and it's this justification for what we're doing. And you know, I'm not saying there are not real hurts, there are not real issues. It's where they have actually been put on a pedestal, you know, and as I say, they become the defining influence of our lives. Then it's an issue, it's a problem.
And again, if I'm working with my clients, self-pity knocks at the door. I hear you feeling awful. Can I come in?
Yeah.
And then we let them in, and then we sit down and have a cup of tea, and we just say how awful it is. And that might be a factual, a kind of a conversation, but I tell you, at the end of it, she doesn't go away out of the sofa in the house making you feel better. You don't think, oh, that was good, I feel so much better. You know, when you've let self-pity in and you had a conversation, at the end you feel more disempowered than ever.
Absolutely. It's one of the reasons why therapists really need to go through therapy, you know. You're sitting there listening to a client and you think, I'm just going to tell this one. Do you think you've got it back? Let me... Which is not exactly very therapeutic, you know. But there is this, it gets in there and it gets into your head, you know, and we've all got it. We've all got reasons
absolutely.
to feel sorry for ourselves.
So take it from us. It's really not a good thing to feed. Be kind to yourself, but I mean, I kind of have learnt just to be so careful. I'll probably have a day battling with it now. But yeah, it's an enemy of optimism, change,
absolutely,
and you know, a good attitude in the situation that you're in. So don't let it con you. Don't let it rob you of the power to look for hope. To keep in love, and to continue working on change.
But it's also about looking back all the time rather than looking forward. You know, if we're looking back all the time, then we can probably find things to be sad about, you know, shamed about, guilty about, etc. If we're looking forward, we're looking at hope.
So put this on speed dial. I'm so sorry what you're going through. I understand it's really, really hard, and your pain and your journey matter. Now that is proper care. I mean it from my heart. You can listen to that as much as possible, but don't let that become a more toxic message.
Don't let it define you.
Thank you for listening. Comment again. You've probably got lots of things to say about that. Feel free.
Probably.
Yes, do. We'll probably get reams on this one.
Well, let me tell you. Self-pity from Bolton. Sorry, I'm just joking.
And we're not, please don't hear trivialisation of your journey. We try to keep it light because some of the things we go through are so awful, and we understand that. You know? But, you know, we are not mocking your pain or your journey in any shape or form. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.